Hey, happy Friday, everybody.
Happy Friday.
We are so thankful that you're here with us tonight. And, there's a million things to talk about. I hope that we can, get to them all. But I think first things first, we should say hellos. In first was Squatchy, followed by Mr. Stan Guthrie. Welcome in. Dana Green's here. Good to see you. The greatest name on the internet
Bubble them.
is in the house tonight, as is Scott Horn. You know what? As I look at these names going through here, I wish they would let me put like a little emoji behind people's names because there are so many freedom warriors in here that are active every day trying to make a difference. And we're in great company for sure. Let's see here. Am I at? Carrie Davis, good to see you. Jane Marie, welcome in. Unique Prepping. Zach and I did a live together the other night and talked about transitioning from, one pill to the next pill, from red pill to the blue pill or whatever. But it was a good conversation. So you guys should check it out. The king himself, Jeff, Juicy, Hefty, Lefty, Amazon, Mud Dog, or Slick, Phyllis is in the house. No lives complete without a
Pack rat.
Pack Rat's in the house, as is the beautiful Paula and Kent. Thistle Creek, welcome in. Good to see you. There's another warrior right there, Mr. Indiana Mike. Ahoy to you. Gratitude to Grace. Good to see you guys as well. I'm glad, again, you guys are all here. So what do you want to talk about tonight, babe? What do you got on your list?
I was going to say, first, I found out that my my niece passed away in January in Las Vegas, and I found out that her celebration of life is like in a couple of weeks, or next week actually, and we are trying to get ready for the town hall meeting.
I'm going to talk about that. I got a couple slides.
Getting all of that kind of stuff together, and I'm not going to be able to make it, but if any of my family members are listening, I send my love.
Let me see here. Sharpshooter, welcome in. Mo Engineer, welcome in. And Kent, good to see you guys.
Evening all.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're fine. But I just found that out, and so my love is with them. My heart's with them.
Yeah, there's been a lot going on the Life Done Free front. We've got a festival getting ready to come up here April the 11th. We'll talk about that a little bit. We've got all kinds of stuff going on politically. It was funny. I got a comment on one of the pages that I'm involved in a lot, referencing community, and somebody put a comment on there and said, well, it sure seems you guys are super, politically affiliated, and I don't want that. And then so I responded
Me neither.
I responded to her. I said, we're not affiliated from a party perspective. We're affiliated from a political perspective. What we're trying to do is create the freest place we can live. What we're trying to do is stand up to tyranny. This has nothing to do with Republican or Democrat. This has to do with, well, the truth is, it has to do with Band-Aids, really. Well, I mean it.
That stinks.
Well, it does. But, I don't really have a whole lot of hope that we're going to change anything big. But what I do think we could do is Band-Aid it. And what I do think we can do is fight, more, regulations, more permitting, more zoning, more taxes. We can continue to keep that.
And that's the thing. Like, if you, for those of you who are here because you know us and you don't necessarily care to listen to the political side, we can continue to turn our backs towards it like I do, because I'm like, he's up on that podium and he's talking and preaching and his friends are talking and preaching. And I pick up some stuff here and there and I'm like, wait, what? Often he goes, where were you at on Friday when we talked about that on the live? And I'm like, I don't know. I thought about something else when you said that. And he was like, good grief. Like, I'd love to live in your world. And I don't know how many times I've heard that. I'd love to have even a penny for every time I've heard that. But we can continue to turn our heads away from all of that that's going on, and we will continue to get exactly what we have been getting.
Well, no, it's
right.
Worse.
It'll the snowball effect.
It compounds.
Yes. Because
yes.
We are going through that right now when in our small little county, and the more we turn our eye, the more they want to take, and the more they want to regulate, and the more they want to say you can't do that. And I'm going, who are you talking to? what do you mean I can't do that? That's ridiculous. I live here. And they're like, yeah, but you didn't ask for permission to do that. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
have
Babe,
a good day.
the truth is on that is that, if you told me that we could continue the level of intrusion into our lives that we have
If
right
it
now,
continues the same
just flat all the
plateau.
way across, I probably wouldn't fight as much because I could plan for it. I could all of those kind of things. But the problem is it exponentially gets worse all the time.
Hard.
When we first moved to this county, you didn't hardly need permission for anything,
Right.
and you still don't a lot. But I mean, we better start putting a stand up or there's going to be
No,
issues,
but what I just like what was on the Facebook, I saw that Kathleen posted about they're going to change the zoning. They want to change the zoning, and it's like what zoning? Oh, they're going to come and infringe upon a little bit more, just a little bit more intrusion. And
Did
as
you
long
read
as
my
you
Facebook
say
post on taxes today?
no,
Okay. You guys know that you really suck when your wife won't even read your stuff.
come on
You
now,
know?
come on now.
Yeah, I'm losing the audience. Hey, real quick. Jamie, welcome in. Skades Girl, good to see you. Rhonda Benefield's in the house. Rhonda said I had a small stroke, but doing better. Oh my goodness, prayer
Sorry to
warriors, you
hear
guys
that.
know what to do. Unique prepping says B that sorry, and in your prayers. Hey, my buddy David's in the house.
Thank
Yep, and Jean Menke. Yeah, 9701 is here, and I just got to meet this young man for the first time this last week, which is pretty cool. Terminator's in the house. David says, you guys approach politics in a very rational and inclusive way. Coming from you, David, that means a lot. A whole bunch.
You
And-
guys.
Yeah, but there's a whole lot of us that do it, babe.
Oh,
I mean,
thought he was like,
I'm the one on social media mostly, but
Yes.
there's a lot of us. I mean, Kathleen's on social media, so you get to see some
Yes.
of that. But I mean, there's a lot of people that are involved in pulling those kind of things off. Indiana Mike says more regulation costs more money. Yes, it does. Talk about Warriors. Mrs. Hacks in the house. Good to see you. ACM. There's another one. Good to see you.
In a while.
Adam and Cindy. I hope all is well. Yeah, Skins Girl said she read my post.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Thank you, Cindy.
Yeah.
Thank you for your support.
Yeah. The reason why I asked you if you read my post is because I took taxes from a national level and whittled it down to how it affects us and actually addressed zoning.
Oh, I should read that.
But I do it on purpose because I know I have a meeting coming up. Those posts, guys, although I post them to the Life Done Free page for those of you guys who read it, the truth is I post them in a local Facebook group as well. Because what I'm trying to do is gear up for a meeting. And so I'm trying to steer messaging all the time to
It gets people like me thinking.
to
And
say
going,
let's
wait,
go do
I don't
this.
like that.
Because I think at the end of the day, one of the mistakes that a lot of people make, and you guys have heard me talk about this a million times on my live, is that we judge people by where they are in their journey instead of encouraging where they are. And so even though there are people in this county, I'm not going to mention his name, there's a particular young man in our county who him and I adamantly agree on most things. But the longer and longer we interact, I want to say gently, but it's not really gently, but the more and more we interact, the more we find we agree on. And so I think as you build those bonds, what happens is that people say, hey, you know what, that person's not so bad. And, maybe I'll listen to this or you know what, I'm going to research that fact or whatever it is, And so I think we really have to work hard on meeting people on the ground that they're at and understanding they're in a different place in their journey. And if we can help them through that journey and through learning for themselves and discovering for themselves, I mean, ultimately we get them to freedom. And you tell me a better gift you're going to give anybody than that,
Right.
Let's see here. Where am I at? There we go. Gratitude for Grace says laws are more difficult to pass, but regulations get passed ad nauseum and are pushed on us too often as if they are laws that needs to stop. That is an absolutely perfectly said, Gratitude to Grace. And there's a big difference between a law and a resolution, right? Or a regulation or a company policy or a department
They
policy.
don't act like that.
No, they want to say it's law. When
It's law.
yeah, I'll tell you a funny story. So in my county, they want you to, when you go down to get a building permit, let's say you're going to build a barn or something, you're going to do it yourself. For all our DIYers out there, they want you to go down and get an estimate on materials so they know how much to charge you for the permit. That's how my county works. And which I've been adamantly opposed to and refused to do and all that stuff. But when I was in there last time I had gotten a permit and they had asked me to do that, I just told her no. She said, what do you mean no? I said, is it a law? She goes, well, it's not a law. I said, then no, I'm not doing it. Issue the permit, don't issue the permit. I'm building it either way. That's the end of the story. And they issued me the permit. And so the moral of the story is if you just know how some of that stuff works, you can gently push back. And I think that gentle pushback's
That
super,
kind of
super
stinks
healthy.
though, because if you're not the kind to push back, I don't dicker. You know, at garage sales they're
Yeah.
like make offer. I'm like, no thanks.
Okay, but B, with all due respect, how can you sit here and say you got to stand up and say something and then don't stand up and say something? I mean, come on, you can't. It's
Come
that's
on now.
I love
You
you.
can pick and choose.
No, no, you don't. I love you, but that ain't how the game is played. And if you want a difference, well, what world do you want the kids to grow up in?
Yeah.
What world do you want the grandkids to grow up in?
Yep.
Is that more important to you than the anxiety it causes you? It's not hard.
No. Yes.
B don't like this, so you guys know.
Mm.
Poor B, huh? You guys feel sorry for B? I feel sorry for B. Hey, Lindsay Freeze, how are you? Good to see ya. Let's see here. Squatchy says, definitely gearing up for a meeting here Sunday with some local folks on animal keeping rezoning issues. Yep, wonderful.
Good job.
Yeah, I want to talk about this a little bit. And Squatch, I don't know if you know this, but you inspire me, and I mean it. And there's a lot of you freedom warriors that are in here that, you know, you guys keep me motivated, because when I start feeling sorry for myself, I can say there's a lot of warriors out there doing it. You know, you be the one, you know, to sit down and get on your knee. You know, don't you be the one to beg. You stand up. You know, your dad would have stood up. You stand up. And so when I hear your guys' stories of all of the things you do, it kind of morally obligates me, you know, in some way to be super involved and to say the right thing and to try to actually do something good. You know, it's not just about yelling at a commissioner or yelling at, you know, a county official. It's about learning the rules and standing up to the rules and trying to do your
You
best.
shouldn't
And
be yelling.
no, it's babe. I'm very cordial when it comes to the commissioners and all
Yeah.
of them. Just like the lady I told no, I didn't yell it at her.
Right.
I'm not doing it. Just like I said it here tonight. And anyway, I just think that kind of stuff absolutely matters. Let's see here. Joe Casnaw says, "Bang bang tariffs, the world rejoices." I don't know so much, but I got a few slides tonight about the tariffs. I think it's all circus, but I guess we shall see. Nitos is in the house. How's my off-grid buddy? Let's see here. Could you lowball the estimate? Well, sure you could, but then I'm lying. You know, that's the thing is that
They just ask you to guesstimate it.
no, they want you to go to Lowe's or Home Depot,
Get the estimate.
get a
from
list
them.
of material, bring it
Mhm.
back to them, so that they know what charges for a permit. That's the only thing that affects is the permit. It has no bearing on what they're going to tax you on, other than the fee of the permit.
Yeah, just charge me whatever.
Why do we need to have a permit to build things on our own property? This is insanity to me.
Yeah.
And you know, so yes, David, you could. I wouldn't. I'm not a guy that would, but I'm
Well,
just
you
gonna.
didn't do it anyway. So
No, I told him no, which is what we need to be
lowballing
doing.
it.
You know, I could have went and lowballed him, but
I'm using material that I already have mainly. So
the answer is no. I'm not doing it. There's your answer. I don't need anything else. Show me the law. Show me the statute, and those are super important words. Show me the statute that says this is
well,
the
what
issue.
if you're using all used stuff? I mean, you know, we got all that material at a
Yeah,
discount price. So
no, that doesn't matter. They still want you to go get the estimate.
yeah, well, my 2x6s cost. You know,
They don't care about that.
They want
They
the
don't care
what
about
it
that.
costs to replace
They
it.
don't care about that because it has no bearing on what you're taxed. It just
Then
has bearing
why
on the
does it-
price of the permit. All it matters. And so at the end of the day, you just say no.
Silly.
Yeah. Squatchy says shouldn't matter. Square foot is a square foot.
Right. Right.
You know, let's see here. Also, I'm $100 from my communication renew. I have to pay to sound more human. It renews Tuesday. Yeah, I had this on my list, Zach, to talk about, and we'll talk about it a couple times tonight. But if you guys remember last year, Zach over at Unique Prepping, a bunch of communities came together and helped him get software and stuff so that he could produce content. Zach's got cerebral palsy and isn't vocal, and so we needed some software so he could talk. And so we all got together, and it was amazing. It was cool to watch people get together and do that. The year's up, and so we're going to try to help Zach raise. I think he started needing $260 or something. We're down to $100. And so if any of you guys feel, called to help Zach speak to the world and speak prepping and homesteading to the world, And I'm gonna tell you something. You want to go get inspired? Go watch Zach plant potatoes.
Yeah.
I mean it. I mean it. It's cool stuff. So anyway, I would encourage you to do that, Zach. If you could put a link in somewhere so that I can put it on the screen, that would be great.
It is pretty amazing to watch your interviews with him because it's just how he can go through all of that.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, wow,
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Zach's a smart guy.
Yeah.
Absolutely a smart guy. Okay, Mo says no permits required here. Yeah, bragger.
Yeah.
You flexing on me, bro? Let me see here. Backrat says, so if you make it with completely recovered materials and donations and so declare it, does that mean that they will assess it at $0? No.
Right.
No, that's not what that means. What that means is they'll find a comparable that they think is close and they're going to tax you based upon that comparable. It doesn't matter whether you built it with used material or all that. Now they may, let me back up. It matters.
Crap.
No, it matters, but it did not like that. So they'll classify the building in some particular condition, right? Like
fair.
like A, B, C, and D.
Good.
Let's just call it.
Mm.
And so if it's an A condition, then it'll get the highest of the property tax rates versus if it's in a D position. So building it with your own material, they may lower the box that it fits in, but it ain't that much, and you're still going to get taxed. Brett Boyd, good to see you. Pete says, tag, you greatly inspire me, truly. Yeah. Isn't that funny how that works, bud? Absolutely great how it works. You know, we all keep each other, going. We're not going to be I was going to say a bad word.
Poop head.
No, we're not going to be the one that lets it go. We're not going to push it off to another generation. We're going to go do something.
Right.
And we may not be successful. And in fact, I would argue that it's stacked against us.
Probably not.
But my kids will never know me as the guy who got on his knees.
Any given Sunday.
That's just that. Indiana Mike says permit should be free. I already pay taxes and they should more than cover a few pieces of paper for the permit. I agree with this, Mike. And I would go and I would see it and then I would add to it and say that permitting should be done on a postcard. We don't need all those people in office to issue permits. We don't need all of that.
Why do you have to have a permit in the first place? If you want to put a shut up, put a shut up.
100% agree. Well, they make the argument that if you don't get a permit, then they won't know, like if it's in a flood zone, there's flood,
Why
flood
does it
zone
matter?
issues.
If I put my
There's
stuff in a flood zone
Yeah,
and
I
it
agree.
floods
I don't-
away, then it's like, well, that sucks.
well, except then it goes down, it washes down the riverbank, and it runs
Then I'm
into
liable.
a little girl riding a bicycle who is then flipped upside down and speared by the yard darts being played by the neighbor. I mean, you understand what I'm saying? I know it's ridiculous, but this is the arguments that they make.
Yeah.
It's all of
That's
those
how-
what ifs. So I think there should be none too. But here's the thing. I think one of the biggest fights we should be making when it comes to taxation in our local counties is we should be we should be attacking complexity. You understand what I mean by that?
No.
Okay.
Complexity. Yeah.
So when you have permitting and zoning, and each side needs 3 people, and that means that there's 6 people and 6 computers and 6 sets of software and 6 sets.
Everything.
Yeah. So if we could get the process itself down to a postcard,
Where you
one
just-
person can handle it, right? Where you didn't
You
need
think one person can handle all of the postcards coming in that say I
100%.
want a
100%.
permit?
100%. If I'll give you an example. All residential permits are $50. All ag permits are free. Here's a postcard. I need to know your address, the dimensions of the building, and that's it. And you just send it in online or whatever it is. You would stop the need for so many employees. You would stop the need for so much governance, right? You could simplify it. I think if we go after that, because the fact of the matter is, what percentage of local government is there for taxation? Well, the Treasury's Department is there for several reasons, but one of the major reasons is to issue plates to take your money. They're a tax collection stop at the courthouse, right? The permitting place, where you go get your building permits and stuff like that, is a taxation. They're there to collect. Now, they call it a fee. They don't call it a tax, but anything you're forced to pay is a tax. So they're just another arm of the collections. I think some part of the judicial system with fines and that kind of stuff is some part of the collection apparatus. And so if you took a look at all the collection apparatus in local government, what percent of the budget would that represent? Because I bet you it's better than 30%, 40% maybe of the entire budget is just there to collect the other 60% or 65%, whatever it is. So if we could get rid of the complexity of it, you wouldn't need that 40% of government.
Right.
right? Anybody want a 40% tax cut? Because I'd take one.
Yeah.
Yep. Skane's Girl says no is a complete sentence. Yes, it is. Terminator said, I was given advice from a contractor before I start my building. Go buy the code book on building in Ontario. Yeah, Canada, Terminator, we love you. Your country's a mess. I got a couple slides on it tonight. Skane's Girl says, unless your square footage is nicer than they thought. Yeah. So if they put it in a category and then later decide it's in a different category, you just all of a sudden get a big old tax bill. Gratitude to Grace says, learned today here are many people in our community planting gardens going against the regulation that you can't have a vegetable garden. Strength in numbers. Yeah. I don't know how many people are in that development there, but imagine if 20% of them just said no.
I can't believe that there's a regulation that they can't have a garden.
Yeah, it's part of like HOAs, homeowners associations and stuff like that.
That's crazy.
That you can have flowers like a lot of times, but then a lot of people joke about, well, I just put edible flowers in. But yeah, there's a lot of that goes on in the country. Brett says, I have had the same conversation, but a little different about permitting, except why do I have to build to you now specs that cost 20 to 30% more than 15 years ago when I'm paying cash? I'll go a step further, Brett. If I build my house by myself, why am I taxed on my labor?
Yeah.
You know, why do I get it? That's the reason you build it for yourself.
They probably say, well, if everybody would say they built their own house then.
Unique Prepping says, can I email you a link? I don't have a wrench. I don't know what a wrench is, but we can give it a shot, bud. Let me see here. See if I can copy and paste this. There's PayPal. Copy link. Paste. We'll start right there. Okay, I'm putting that one in.
You're so fast.
Is that like tax the rich with the A, B, C grade? Yeah. Yeah, this is actually, man, we're gonna get on a roll tonight, Squatchy. Tax the rich. I love this argument. I love this argument. Love it, love it, love it. It's like, do people even understand that when you say tax the shit out of the rich, that what you're really saying is you want a big tax increase? I don't know why people don't understand this. Guys, I've run many, many businesses, and I promise you, all of my costs, my taxes, my cost of goods sold, my labor, the light bill, benefits, all of them are calculated, right? And then all of that comes off of, my cost of doing business. From there, I'm trying to build a certain profit spread. So then I add a profit spread to the top of that, and that's what I sell to the public.
Right.
So any tax that we do that, it just gets passed down.
Usually does.
That's all that happens. So when you say tax the shit out of the rich, understand what you're saying is tax yourself. Anyway, don't mean to rant. Hey, Raw 54, good to see you. Yeah, David said it's always for your safety. Yeah, David and I was talking earlier about that exact point, about the monopoly on violence. Let's see here. The floodplain, the girl, the bicycle, does that all show on the Home Depot receipt you're supposed to give them? No, it doesn't. So one is, how much should I charge you for a permit? And the other one, they say, justifies the permit. So ridiculous. Backrat says, sounds like an episode of Nashville 911. Wouldn't anything you're forced to pay be theft? I agree with that 100%. 100%. You should have a say in it. It's not voluntary if you don't have a say in it, right? Then it's just coercion. If construction is not driven by permitting, it gets driven by insurance. Well, I think that if someone wants to go and build a house out of pallets and that's where they want to live, that's their choice. They'll deal with the repercussions of whatever their insurance premium is if they choose to buy insurance.
Right.
I still don't think you should be told what to do. And if someone wants to live in a shipping container, knock yourself out. If you want to live in a tiny house, knock yourself out. If you want to live on an RV parked on property you own, knock yourself out. The only really permitting that I firmly agree with that has to be there is waste.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yep, but this is because your freedom stops at your property line. And so if you can potentially affect
Poop on your neighbor.
Well, you're right. I think that that's fair to say, hey, we need to have some level of standard for sanitation. I don't have any problem with that.
What about your neighbor damming up the water and stopping you from getting any? You think that's okay?
Well, I think it's perfectly okay because
If
it
it
wouldn't
was him that
it
did it.
wouldn't really stop me from doing it. It would stop it for a little bit till the pond filled up.
Unless he was irrigating with it and it never
Right.
came back.
Right. Well, I don't have a right to tell somebody on their own land what they're supposed to do with it.
Mm.
I mean, so let's see here. Dana says, my sister wouldn't quit talking. Well, hello, hello. All good. Okay, so did I do it twice? That's weird. Why did it do it twice?
One is on Facebook and one is on the red.
Okay, so what's the third one?
I don't know what that is.
Okay, that's why I said 3 times.
Mm.
Anyway, guys, here's Zach's PayPal links. I'll give it a little bit, and I could put a Venmo up too. But if anyone feels called to do it, it'd be great to get this young man his software again to make it another year and keep producing content. Let's see here. Just pay all those fees, shut up, and remember, they keep telling us it's a free country. Yeah. Pete says cost of goods sold. It's cost of goods sold, and it's also admin and overhead, and it's also benefits, and it's payroll and commissions, and I mean, it's all of that stuff. But you're absolutely going to put that in there. Let's see here. Tag, their answer was to protect your neighbor. My reply was, but his 50-year-old shed that's not to now speaks. Is it okay?
It's not up to specs.
Oh, it's not up to specs. Well, that's I don't see how that's the county's business whether or not it's up to specs. If people want to live that way, they get the only
Who determines the specs?
the only valid argument I've ever really heard about the whole permitting process is it protects the consumer who buys your house next. Right. That what it does is it says, hey, that
There's a
this house
standard.
was built to at least this standard, so that the next buyer isn't taken advantage of by buying a piece of crap or
That
whatever.
makes sense.
But I still don't think that's enough reason for it, in my opinion. I think that the buyer coming in, I mean, you want to see an explosion of inspection businesses? Get rid of permitting. Right? So I still don't think it's enough, but I do understand.
Yeah, because you could still get the permit or
Yep.
the inspection to see what the specs
Yeah.
are.
The famous citizen broadcaster is in the house.
Howdy.
Let's see here. Nito says there's a few people out there who teach how to grow food in an HOA, basically hiding growing food that looks like landscape. Yeah, Nitos, I get this, and you got to do what you got to do, but I'm going to tell you, you'd be way better off getting half the neighborhood to stand up together and just tell them no. Because just like in the case of the lady who wanted me to go get the itemized list from Home Depot and Walmart, I could have just fibbed my way through that. But the problem is, at some point, we got to check them. We got to put them in check, and we got to say no.
You think she went to her boss and said, "Hey,
I'll guarantee you
that guy came
I will
in here and
guarantee you.
said no."
I will guarantee you that the second I walked out that door, they called one of the commissioners. What do we do?
And then they knew who you were.
Right. They said, well, it ain't a law. He's
Well.
right. Just ask the next person.
Yeah.
Let's
Tell
see.
them not to tell other people.
Yeah, right. Tax the rich. I'm sure we're going to get into Mendami. We are in taxes in New York. We can all use a good laugh. Well, problem is that everything that happens on the East and West Coast ends up here later. Right? And the fact of the matter is they're not going to be able to print their way out of all of this. That they will not. It's unsustainable. And as, civilizations collapse, and let me say it differently. When they change, when they evolve, when they go from one to another, typically it's absurd laws and taxes, that the company right there at the end. So I don't see any way how we actually escape it. The homeless that live in a cardboard box in the riverbed is fine, but we have to comply with new codes and pay fees. Yes, that's
He's coming up with some doozies.
yeah, well, it's good. I think the difference between the homeless camp living in a cardboard box is if they were living in a cardboard box on land they paid for, that they owned, that they spent their energy capital building, I don't think anyone should be able to tell them what to do. Now, if you want to go live on the public land, then the taxpayer gets to tell you what to do because the taxpayer is funding it. Right? If I funded it as an individual, that's my own private property.
Most of it would be public land that they're on, right?
And which is owned by the public. So the question always has to be who's paying the bill. Right?
Just raise the taxes.
Perfect answer. You're a statist, aren't you?
No.
Yeah. Unique says taxation is theft. Yes, it is. Oops. Let's see here. Instigator, what's up, buddy? Says also remember up to code is the absolutely lowest acceptable standard, not exactly something to aspire to. I agree. I absolutely agree. I have 100% confidence in my house will be here longer than I am. You know, we built it strong, but I shouldn't be taxed on my labor, and it really should be nobody's business, in my opinion. Let's see here. Squatchy says getting community together to push back. The city should be listening. Oh, they're listening. They're absolutely listening, and I'd love Squatchy over YouTube to give details, but I can't because I don't want to violate trust, right? And so we are absolutely making an impact. We are going. I'll get to that. I'll get to that slide. But we're going to make it as visible as we can. I think everyone gets paid by tips only, mandatory tips. Okay, no tax on tips, instant income tax. Right. Right. What was actually funny about this is I think a lot of this stuff is just circus.
Yeah.
You know, I will talk
I
about some
agree.
of that. Yeah, inspections should be the responsibility of the future buyer. The minute we start to subsidize inspections, our taxes will go up again. 100% agreed. I think the point I was making about the inspections is get rid of permitting and you'll see the explosion of private business inspections.
Right.
You'll see more inspectors come because the need will be so much greater,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And we could actually spawn some private business all by getting rid of governmental rules. Isn't that amazing to think that regulation would bring on business?
Yeah.
You know,
And then the good ones will gain more and more business. The bad ones will fall off.
that's right. That's right. Free market's a wonderful place.
Free market.
What I was trying to say, you want me to spend money to protect my neighbor, but his half falling down shed is okay. Remember, they're doing it under the hurricane veil. Yeah, I don't think that you should have any say in the neighbor's half falling down shed until it crosses your property line.
Right.
And I don't think you should have to pay any money to protect your neighbor. You know, let your neighbor use their own money to protect themselves.
But if his stuff blows in your yard, it belongs to you. Pick
Okay.
it up.
Well, it's not just that. As soon as it crosses into your yard, now you have legal standing.
Yeah.
Now there could be damages. Freedom is not the absence of consequence. It's exactly the opposite. It's owning a consequence. In that you build a building in a floodplain and it goes down the river and kills the little girl on a bike trying to dodge yard darts, right? I mean, you go down that road, that's what freedom is accountability. You'd be accountable to the outcome of your actions. I don't see why that's so hard. If our county, let me see, in our county, if you buy land, you have to fill out what they call a warranty deed, which then gives them permission to tell you what you can and cannot do on your property. So who really owns the land? Well, Hickser, I can tell you this for 100% certain, as long as we have property tax, none of us own anything. When they said you'll own nothing and be happy, we're already there. We already own nothing. Right?
Yeah.
When they tax the rich out of money, they will then turn to you. The crap rolls downhill. They ain't going to have to turn to you because what the rich is going to do is add it to the cost of whatever it is they're doing, and they're going to pass it on to you anyway. So you get to pay it.
That is the downhill.
Yeah. Hey, Mary Michelle, welcome in. Let's see here. Heard someone say eliminate the top 1%. They didn't consider there will always be a top 1%, right? Yeah. Instigators, what I love about you. You have a great way of putting things, and that is absolutely right. Right. As soon as you get rid of the top 1%, there's a new 1%.
Right.
You better get rid of them too. And then pretty soon we have Common Core society. Right?
Even then, there's still a top one.
We will always be taxed on our property because we will never own the land. Never's a long time, and enough of us
I
get
hope
together. If
not.
enough of us got together, I promise you, we could get rid of property tax. But what it takes is we all got to get involved.
Yeah.
You too.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm babysitting.
Yeah. Let's see. They don't issue allodial titles. The government will always want to have their way for eminent domain if they feel it necessary. Yep. Hey, Whisper Creek, welcome in. Man, we talked for 34 minutes. I haven't gotten to a slide yet. Should we get on to the anything else on your list you want to talk about?
No, go ahead.
Couple laundry items for me. Again, we're trying to help Zach raise money to get his software that he needs to continue. If you feel it in your heart to do that, please do. I'm going to go ahead and post
The Venmo.
the Venmo one. I've already posted the Facebook one in.
No, PayPal.
Or sorry, here's Venmo. There you go. Gratitude to Grace. 4 to win. Tea party,
Ah.
anyone? Yep. Brett Boyd says several years ago, I told you taxes would be the death of the private landowner. Yep. And they are too, huh? That's weird.
Hmm.
It would post the Venmo link on YouTube, but won't post it on Facebook. Anyway. All right. Check this out, guys. There's parts of Kansas going through the Dust Bowl. I don't know if you guys have seen this or not, or if any of you guys have watched it out west. They had a big old dust storm come through. Now it's not really like the Dust Bowl. You know, the Dust Bowl lasted a long, long time, and this is over in a day or whatever it is. But that's what western Kansas is like. That's not my
This is
part of the
actually
state.
dust.
Yeah.
I thought it was smoke.
No, it's dust. They get them out there because out there it's very open. There's not a lot of trees. There's not a lot of, it's not in my part of the state. That's on the other half of the state. But as you look, I-70 is the main interstate that runs through Kansas. It runs from east to west, right about halfway in the state, and just cuts the whole state in half. And so this is all
pretty scary.
I-70. Yeah, zero visibility due to a dust storm. You guys remember during the Great Depression, right? They had the Dust Bowl.
Yeah.
Right back during that time, which wrecked a lot of people because it was prolonged. I would certainly hope never to get there. Another reason why to have lots of trees, have lots of stuff planted. Don't let your topsoil blow away.
Yeah.
Because I don't know where our topsoil is from the, right, that's right, Brett Boyd for the win right there. Yeah, that's the transfer of topsoil. Yeah, that's right. That's exactly what that is. I don't know where our topsoil ended up from the Dust Bowl, but it definitely didn't stay in Kansas. Yeah, Romans girl, welcome in first, and 100%. That's what monocropping will do for you.
Do you know where this dirt is coming from?
It's coming from there.
So it's
It's
from.
blowing out of the fields with enough wind, and it gets blown up into the atmosphere, and then gets redeposited in Michigan or something. Somewhere else. Tax on tips is capped at $2,400. No tax on Social Security is only if your income is below the poverty level. The only relief we get is the $6K if we're over 65, and the only for the time he's in office. Yeah, Bill Fallon, this is exactly the issue. I mean, I have you guys know Life with Mike and Jen, who are in the lives a lot. When they come in here, Mike had made a comment about needing predictable taxes. Right? A predictable system so that people can budget and people can live their life, so it isn't so chaotic and it doesn't change every administration and it isn't all over the place. And then how in the world could a politician think that we're going to be smart enough as a people to know all of the tax documents that change every 4 years?
Right.
I mean, good luck. Let's see.
Well,
here.
it's pretty hard to plan when you're. I mean, our taxes went up over 100%, so it's pretty hard to plan when
Yeah, and then you got 15 days to
Yeah.
pay for it.
that's like bam. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
that can't be right.
Hakestraw 54 says businesses never really pay taxes. You're the consumer pay it for them when you pay for their product or service. Every time there's a tax increase, it creates more inflation. This is exactly 100% correct. The fact of the matter is the consumer pays 100% of the taxes.
Fees.
They pay 100% because it's all passed on. So when they tell you, we're only going to raise taxes for the top 4%, we're only going to raise it if you make more than $500,000 a year. Do you know why those people make that kind of money? Because they're in business, right? And so, this might help it might affect like a doctor or something like that who isn't marketing a product or any of those kind of things. But I promise you, the hospital takes the doctor's salary into consideration before they price the medicine, which is why you pay $13 for an aspirin. Let's see here. Hey everyone, we're on the road and listening to you. Well, Permatopia Farms, please be safe. I'm glad you're listening. Mo Engineer said, so a tea party today on property tax looks like what? Throwing all the Home Depot, Menards, and Lowe's suppliers in the river? Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Obviously, I don't think you could actually do a tea party. Right?
Our river's pretty low.
Right, our river's pretty low. I really think more what they meant is to, go get involved, go say no, start standing up. And we're going to have to get a little more confident in our position, I think, as time goes on here.
And involved.
Oh, David, thank you very much for donating to Zach. It's a super important cause. I don't know if, David, you ever had a chance to watch Zach, a very articulate young man. And, it's been fun to watch him grow through this journey. And anyway, thank you very much. Yeah, Hakestraw said that meant it creates more inflation. What was he saying here? And didn't I say creates? Not. I said creates, I think.
I don't know.
Yeah, I agree with you. Topsoil, our biggest export. A staggering amount goes down the Mississippi River and into the ocean every year. And do they? I don't know. Does anybody know this, Pack Rat? Do they mine that? Do they then, dredge all that topsoil out and redistribute it somewhere? I don't have any idea. Anybody can start an LLC, so do it and avoid taxes if you think it's that easy. Yeah, it's not that we avoid taxes, because I have businesses, I pay taxes every single year. My point is that I add the cost of my taxes to my cost of doing business.
Right.
I pay huge amounts of taxes, but again, it gets
Right. If you're selling T-shirts, you're going to take
add it
that
to the
into
cost of the T-shirt.
Of the T-shirt.
That's right, 100%, 100%. Okay. Oh, this was fun. Guess what I got to go do, guys? I got to go watch my son play a concert. He's been in this band High Sour for a while, and so me and B went down yesterday. Was it yesterday? Yeah. We went down yesterday to Kansas City and watched him play in this place called the Skater Bar, and it was pretty cool. Not really the typical. How would I say that?
Not
What would be
the
my
normal
normal crowd?
music that you'd listen to.
No, the music was fine. Not necessarily my normal crowd. They're kind of a grunge band, but that picture of that boy in the middle playing, that's my middle son.
That wouldn't you that was like head banging. I could see you doing that in
Yeah.
your day.
Yeah, I listened to heavy metal.
They
I
were
didn't-
like, moshing
Yeah.
and hitting each other, and I'm like,
Yeah.
that just does not sound like fun
So-
to me.
If you guys
I
like
found a couch and I sat on the couch
the whole time.
and I took pictures from the couch like a proud mom. And I had earmuffs on.
They just released a song called PPM, which I put up in the top right-hand corner, which is about kind of all the BS going on in the world. So that part kind of made me a proud dad, that although they do it so fast, I can't hear what they're saying. Right.
He asked for lyrics.
Yeah, I made
He
him
goes,
send me
"Can you
the
send me the
lyrics
They're
too.
fun."
But anyway, if you guys wouldn't mind, if you go to High Sour on YouTube, they don't have a lot of subscribers.
20.
Yep, but this is my boys' band, and they're starting to travel all over, and I'm really, really excited for them. And listen to the song PPM, because it's a lot of the stuff that we care about. Let's
It's
see here.
loud. There's always a need for that kind of
Yep.
music.
Mo says all those hours playing at the house is paying off, and all those music lessons over all those years.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever told you guys this or not, but these guys, this band, sometimes practices at the community building.
Yeah.
So they'll come down in the middle of the week, and it's totally cool to watch them play all off grid, right? Because that building's totally off grid. And so to
Yeah.
listen to them,
You could watch it on the tracker on the phone. It's like woo, woo. The usage,
yeah,
because they'll play a while and then they'll take a break and like go through lyrics or whatever when they're like writing, and then they'll play and then they'll stop and eat and
Yeah.
go through lyrics. And
I had a neighbor not directly to me. So next to me, there's an 80-acre lot. The land behind that, the 80 acres on the other side of that, is a guy who I don't know real well, but he called me up one night to let me know that the Ozzy Osbourne sounded good.
Yeah. I was like, oh snap. Our neighbors they know where that noise is coming from. We are totally gonna get in trouble one of these days.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, we're in the country. I'm like, you can't even build anything out here.
You know what's for me? What's crazy about all of this is
You
that
need a permit.
Tag and earlier in his life, in my 20s and 30s, I would have told my son that this is unrealistic. Right? He needs to go get a job.
Yeah.
I would have.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna tell you guys, I encourage him every day to follow his dream.
Shape up.
Don't worry about the money.
And he's got a job.
He's got a great
He
job.
Lives on his own.
Yeah, what
Like,
I'm saying
more
is,
can we ask for?
Don't put a career ahead of your dream. Go make your
Yeah.
dream your
Go have
career,
fun.
because life is short
Because
and
you're gonna have a baby and then it's gonna be all not fun.
right, right. It'll come soon enough. Go play your music. Go have fun. To go be a rock star. It was fun to watch all the people headbanging in front of him and
Oh, yeah.
and moshing in front of him. And
There
I'm
was
just,
one person that had like I think it was a girl. She had bald on the sides, and then a big green mohawk, and then right here 2 red hair horns. And I was like, look at her hair. And then he's like, she has a beard, and I'm like, oh, I don't know. But I mean, it was a good time. They were gonna play second, and then they were the second band up, and then what'd you say, the person cut their hand, and
Yeah.
so they couldn't come and play, and so they got bumped and they got pushed. So it was a late night for us last night, old folks.
Yes, we got home super late.
Yeah, we were home like at midnight.
Instacator said, I built a speaker box for a mini truck once. 2 15-inch, 4 8-inch speakers. When testing, my cousin who lived over a mile away identified the song. It was a VW pickup. Okay,
Good
Tag.
old days.
Yeah. Fat Rat says, okay, Tag, I subscribed. I may be on the couch with earmuffs like B to listen to them. Yeah, you might be. It was actually funny. I had before we left, I'm like, okay, we got to get some earplugs. So
He did. He gave me a whole bunch and put them in my pocket.
I went out to the gun room. I have my own gun room where I can reload and stuff like that. I never film it for obvious reasons, but anyway, I went out and got just a handful of gun earplugs so that we could go. They work.
Yeah, I didn't use those. I had big
Yeah.
muffs.
So
I had my.
anyway, thank you guys for if you guys go over there and subscribe to them, feel free to type in the comment in there. Tag sent you. And again, I hope he follows his dreams. I'm very, very proud of him. I'm proud of him for having the courage to do that because I didn't have that courage.
Yeah.
And
I recorded
cool.
one of his songs. I'm gonna put it up tomorrow on a short.
Mm.
Well, so he ends up taking his hat off, and when he takes his hat off, I'm like, whoa, look at all that hair. It's like it like comes down and it's like over his face, and I'm like, what the what? Because normally when we see him, he's like just from work, and so his hair's all combed back, and it's like, you know, product.
and he's in dress clothes.
Yes, and his girl has the does hair, so she's like got good product and he's got good hair, and so when he takes his hair down, when he takes his hat off, and I'm like, oh, so at one point in time he starts like banging his head, and I'm just like, oh, his neck is gonna hurt.
You are such a dork.
Well, it just hurt me thinking about it.
Gary Davis says, if it's too loud, you're too old. It was
Yeah,
too loud,
It was
Gary.
loud.
I'm definitely
It
too
was a
old.
small room.
My problem is too, once I put the earplugs in, I couldn't hear what they were singing about.
Well, they were just screaming
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah. I mean, I couldn't make it
No.
out, but
Once he wrote down what the names of the songs were, and then once you know what the names of the songs are, you could like easier follow like what's being said. I think
you can follow the chorus line.
the chorus line, yeah, some of the words too.
Surfer babe.
Girl.
No, girl, don't what? Let's see here. Pockety says, bad enough, I'm often in the parents' Prius with Ozzy and Metallica turned up. Let's see here. It's the difference between Tag in person and his Facebook profile picture. Yes, Whisper Creek. Yeah, my personal Facebook profile picture. Yes.
You're like, who's that?
Yeah.
He looks familiar. I just
Yeah. Hey, Amy B. Welcome in.
picture it.
Welcome in. What is going on? Get rid of that. There we go. Well, let's see what else we got. We have a town hall meeting coming up that we, the people, called coming up on March the 4th in Holton, Kansas. I'm looking forward to it. I thought I would just update you guys on the graph. Right now, taxes are still leading. It has had 80 votes. Second would be property rights at 62 votes. What would be next? Looks like solar and wind at 48 would be the
Did you say
Top three.
transparency of government?
yeah, that's down at, see, that's at
Yeah.
44 people. I was just doing the top ones. So it'd be solar and wind and then transparency of government.
Mm-mm.
So we're going to let this guide our topics as we get into the town hall meeting, but
Questions.
I'm super excited
And people are putting questions in there
Yeah.
too, like,
that we're
I
collecting them.
want to know what the blah blah blah, and then they're like, "Oh, that's a good question. We should have that on there."
Mm.
So if you have a question, you can fill the survey out, and at the
Mhm.
back end, put your question and submit it.
Yeah, if you guys look in the center of that sunflower looking thing, there's actually a QR code.
It's so hard to see right
Yeah, I
there.
know it is. And
If
here
you
it is.
zoom in, you can see it
Yeah,
better.
but it actually takes you to the actual survey. But we're collecting them. I'm very excited about this, but there's a lot. Getting involved, you guys, on an everyday basis and staying involved has all kinds of outcomes.
Yeah. Oh, it sure does.
It has all kinds of outcomes, and we have been successful in changing and having resolutions rescinded. We've gotten to a point where sometimes our opinion is asked prior to doing something, right? Which is really cool, but it's going to have continuous impact too. And let me kind of share with you guys what I mean by that. So, first, and I'll go back to this. So, our county commissioners, we've been filming them for a long, long time. And just basically, we have a wonderful lady who, from our community, who goes down there every single Monday and films them. That's the citizen broadcaster who's in our comments quite often and watching the live. And this is big because it holds them accountable.
Yeah.
You know, it puts everything on record. And at first, you know, they were pretty upset. And, you know, I had told the commissioners very, very early on in this process that you want to stop it. The only way you're going to stop it is you have to do everything live now. You have to be completely transparent because it will never go away otherwise. And they resisted. Well, guess what? I am the first subscriber to Jackson County, Kansas Commissioners YouTube channel. And you can see up there.
This is their YouTube
This is
channel.
their YouTube channel.
So whatever is put on here is the stuff that they want you guys to see.
Yeah. So they are going to go forward and stream all of their meetings now live on YouTube for the people to see. And I'm going to tell you guys this is not possible without a community.
Yeah.
Without the pressure that the community put on, this would have never happened. And special shout out to Citizen Broadcaster, because although we went in bitch, she was that constant presence.
Yeah.
Right. That never went away. I mean, it was like, you know, super Texas tick. Like it was not, you know, it ain't going nowhere. And, but this is the outcome from it. Now I know that this won't necessarily, stop her from filming more. I don't necessarily want it to.
Right.
But what it does
Probably
allow,
shouldn't, because
well, but
that way it's not like, oh, cut out pieces like.
Well, you'll know.
Oh,
we live stream all the time, babe. If I was to stop it,
you would.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you would absolutely know. So if we get them to do it live, and let's say there's 2 meetings going on or 3 meetings, now it gives us the opportunity for Citizen Broadcaster to say, hey, they're going to film that anyway. I'm going to go to the Road and Bridge meeting. I'm going to go, right? So you actually get them doing kind of your job for you a little bit. But guys, not even to suggest there's anything bad or anything, because the fact is transparency in government's a wonderful thing. It is good for the commissioners. It is good for the county. It is good for the people. It is good for all of it. It keeps everybody in touch. It lets everybody knows what's going on, anybody that cares. It also shows the commissioners they have to be accountable. And because what they say is going to be out there forever. And it will always going to be, come back to you.
Yeah.
David wants to know, is it streamed live? Do they have control to edit it? Okay, so they want to stream it live, David, but they can't stream it live until they have at least 50 subscribers.
And they've got 1 subscriber.
Well, no, they got more now. I'll bet you they're up to 15 or 20 because I put a post out earlier on it.
Oh.
So we'll get there 50 pretty quick. But as soon as they get to 50, they will live stream it, which means they won't be able to edit it. It will be a live stream, and you'll be able to access it, and people can go there and watch it. And,
but so like they'll go into session, stop, turn it back on.
So they won't film during an executive session, but the fact is when they go into executive session, we all have to leave anyway.
Yeah.
We're not gaining anything there. But
right.
Let's hear. Brett Boy goes, wow, live stream, nice, but most won't take the time to follow. You're right, most won't. But I'm going to tell you something, Brett. We're going to put out posts on social media. We're going to remind them about that it's going on. We're going to do all we can to get the people involved, not because we think we can save the republic, because this isn't isn't going to save the republic. But what it will do is help create a place that people who live the life that we live, people who love freedom, a place for us to be that is absolutely as insulated as we can possibly make it.
I think it helps people to get involved because it lets people, even like your mom who doesn't leave the house, a way to see the meetings and be able to interact. And that way, people who are not able to be there in person can take their time to watch.
We need to show mom how to get on here. Right.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, we need to do that. I'm going to go back a slide real quick, just because I'd forgotten to mention it to you guys. So I polled some of the questions that are coming in for the town hall meeting, and I just thought I'd share
These
some
are
of
all
them.
questions.
Yep, these are all
from,
questions
from
from somebody
the
else that came
public.
in. Yeah, and I obviously didn't put their name in here because I don't. Right, we want to keep that
Right.
private. But I just thought it would be you. Some of you guys might find it interesting. Some of the questions. So the first one was, why is there almost no transparency in our elected officials? As an elected official, do you feel you owe your constituents more than a lopsided article in the paper once a month? Ouch. Oh, yep, there you go. Sharpshooter says they have 17 subscribers now. You guys, everybody go subscribe for me. I know I have asked that. This is now the twice today, but
Good
I'm-
grief,
I'm-
you ask a lot.
I'm not asking anybody to like my podcast. I'm not asking anyone to share it. I'm not
Share,
asking any of that. I'm
Like, share, subscribe.
I'm trying to build freedom.
Yeah.
And if we could figure out a way to do that,
Yeah.
that's way more important. Why do you require an estimate of material costs from Menards or Home Depot? Isn't that a waste of those companies' resources? I think this is a
Sure
great
is.
question, because if I was the owner of Menards or Home Depot and I found out a county was sending people who were going to do their own work down to get an estimate and waste my resources, I would have a gigantic problem with that.
Well, and then potentially not even use them too,
Right. Well, yeah,
because that's
correct.
not a guarantee that you're
Nope.
going to use them.
Nope. When is property tax ever going to go down? Why are county roads south of 198th Road less maintained? Let's see. Our road used to be graded numerous times throughout the year. Now it's done maybe 2 to 3 times if we are lucky. Why? See, those are the questions that I'm absolutely going to read the commissioners, although I don't really want to.
That just says our road. So is that, how are they going to know which road they're talking about? Maybe just
Yeah, I don't.
roads that are done
yeah,
twice a
I
year.
don't know.
Why?
But the problem is when you ask questions like this in a town hall meeting, what they're going to say is, "Oh, you're right. I agree. We'll make a change. I need more money."
Because we don't have the funding to do it more than 3 times.
Right.
You're lucky to get
Right.
that.
Right. Let's see here. Brett Boyd says, what I'm finding is most commissioners are not even prepared for debate. They walk in and get a set agenda and they don't even know what's going on. Yes, but this is why the town hall meetings matter in an environment that they don't get to control the narrative. So when we get to go do a public town hall meeting, they're going to sit there and answer questions. They don't get to control any of that, right?
Well, can they say, I'm not going to answer that?
Romans Girl says, 18 subscribers now. Thank you very much. And Pete Squatchy says, I'll sub after the live. Thank you very much. Let's get them to 50 so we make sure it goes live. Let's see here. Next one says, do you feel proud of the job you have done knowing your wasteful spending has forced our senior citizens to sell their homes because they can no longer afford to stay in the homes they have lived in all of their adult life? The next one says, since there's no federal law or state law prohibiting anyone from doing so, would you be accepting of a stranger flying a drone over your property and taking video of your property and your family outside?
Yeah, that doesn't seem fair.
My mom was looking at buying an old church building in and around Holton to set up community art and experimental learning center. But when she was told the estimated taxes, because it would be a commercial property and no longer a church, the taxes were more than what would be feasible. So she passed on the renovating a historic place of this county into a community venue. What plans do you have to address property taxes and the best uses versus square foot valuations on non-residential property to bring more commerce and community to Jackson County? If property taxes continue to increase at their current rate, home ownership would become difficult for new families and seniors. What is your plan to ensure seniors and young families can afford to call Jackson County home for generations to come? That comment is super well written.
Yeah.
Very professional. Isn't being mean, isn't that is a super well written question right there. It seems obvious that we are in need of a couple more commissioner positions. Be careful what you ask for, right? So that so that everyone voices can be heard. I didn't even know who my representative was because he hasn't been out in the community. What will it take to redraw the lines and add additional positions?
You'll have to go do
Yep.
this too.
And then the final question that I put in here for you guys, and we had a lot of them. These are just the ones I pulled out of the beginning. But how do we collect or bill the PPPN, which is the Indian Reservation, for those of you guys who don't know, for all services provided? Sales tax proposal on the ballot to cover gravel costs, reducing, eliminating property tax. I know the issue. Currently, a bill proposed at state level. Just wondering if any of them are considering this. I like that question too because we can talk about. There's a big movement all over the United States about eliminating property taxes. What are you guys doing to prepare for that? What would you do if the property tax revenue dried up tomorrow? Let's see here. Love Runs Rampant says, at our county school meeting, you can ask questions, but they say they won't answer the questions that day. You're able to get up and talk, and that's it, which is crap. Absolute crap. They
'Cause
try
they
to,
don't want to put them on the spot.
well, they don't want to have to answer questions. So what they'll do is they'll say, okay, we'll listen to you, and then we'll make our decision later. There's no back and forth. Again, this is why a town hall meeting is so important. We're calling it for our county commissioners, but you could absolutely do it for the city council just the same. Walk in with a video camera in your hand. Walk in and say, "We the people request your presence. This place, this time, be there, be square." And if they don't show up, just like if one of our commissioners don't show up, even though all of ours have said they'll be there, if one of them don't show up, I promise you, from the stage, on a microphone, I will say, "This person said they were coming. They didn't come, and I hope you remember this at the ballot box. They clearly don't care what your opinion is or the questions you have to ask." Easy, And so, again, that won't happen to this one, but I would have no problem walking into the city council and saying the exact same thing. David Strom says, subscriber number 19. Thank you. Did I understand that you're going to let them film their own meetings? They can still manipulate this by posting very late or tech difficulty when critical info is passed. Third party needs to film. Yeah, as I understand it, we'll still have a third party there filming. But if they were to just film it and record it and post it later, this is true. But it's pretty hard. I do enough live streams to know it's pretty hard for them to manipulate a live stream.
If it's
I mean,
live.
you can. I guess that's not totally true because you could post it live, go back later, go in and edit the live. Right? You could go in and do some editing there, but you're still posting it live, right?
Well, people, you could tell. Can you tell if somebody edited it?
You can see the little blink on the
Edited
screen.
it?
So depending on how good they are at editing, let's see here. Yeah, Citizen Broadcaster said, I'll still be attending the meetings and making videos afterwards. Yeah, I knew that. All right, we did that one. I thought I would also share with you guys that this whole movement about getting involved politically is going on everywhere, and Kansas counties are leading the way. These were just two of them. I love picking up on posts like this. The first one is from Osawatomie City Hall, which is in southern Kansas. One of the commissioners there is a guy named Brett. And so they went to a meeting, and apparently Brett wasn't on his best behavior. And so they start posting AI-generated pictures like this. Brett gets what Brett wants. And the other one's
taunting them.
what's that? Yes. The other one's from Wichita, Kansas, and it says, Wichita Police Department, after getting a 40% budget increase over the past 5 years with zero justification, now demanding a 1% sales tax to buy more evil surveillance shit. And so my point I'm only making, I see these guys all the time, is that Kansas cannot be the abnormal state. These have got to be going on everywhere.
You only see Kansas because you live there.
Well, it's because those are the groups that I'm part of, and and those kind of things. But I would really encourage everybody to get on whatever social media you like. Try to get involved in your local pages. Like here we have 6 or 7 Jackson County pages. People paying attention or what's happening in those kinds of things.
Yeah.
But this is where you pick these stuff up, and when once I
That's
get in
funny.
see one of these, then I start following that group because they're active enough to be talking about the things that are going on. So I'm very, very proud of the people in Kansas. They really seem to be standing up a lot all over the state, not just in my county. And I think it's important that we go do this. We go do this all together because, like Gratitude to Grace said earlier about all the people standing up in an HOA about a garden, if you do it together, you won't have any problems.
If all of you say no, then
Yeah, the governor of whatever organization only governs at the consent of the governed. Right? If we remove our consent, especially in those smaller organizations like an HOA or a city or a county, you remove your consent, you're going to make a big dent. Let's see here. Commissioners might pivot to hashing out the fine details over pizza furnished in a break room before the meeting, sort of thing. Yeah, they're not supposed to do that. So in Kansas, we have the Kansas Open Meetings Act. So they're supposed to conduct all business, all public business in public, with the exception of they can go to executive session for things like employee-specific issues, right? HIPAA type stuff. There's a lot of people who believe our county violates these rules from time to time, but if they're meeting ahead of time at pizza, they're eventually going to get caught, right? I mean, eventually someone will film it. Eventually something will
They
happen.
all three can't meet at the
They
same
cannot
time.
meet at the same time without it either being executive session or a public meeting. So let's see here. Changes need to start from the bottom up. Before I moved, my daughter and I were the only ones to show up at town hall meetings, so they did whatever they wanted.
Yeah,
Yep, and this is
that's
why
the problem.
again back to why I said earlier. This is why community matters so much. Because with community, you can put up a fight. You can at least go, even if everybody don't agree on everything. Can we all agree that freedom rocks? I mean, you can stand up and you can go in there and you can put a little heat on, and that heat, eventually what happens is just like for us this week, our county commissioners are now going to live stream all their meetings. That is nothing but a wonderful thing. We can talk about whether it'll be all of it or none of it, or they'll edit it or whatever. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, what a wonderful step
Yeah.
forward towards transparency.
Yeah,
And
and they might have done that eventually on their own anyway.
no
but
way.
you guys
No
pushing
way.
them,
Yeah, no way.
getting there, Kathleen being there. Now, they probably were like, I want to take that away from her. I want to do it myself.
Let's see here. Mo says, at the Citizen Broadcaster, you don't want competition. If people start going to their spot, they won't know more current information is out there, especially if they do it proper the first few times. Yeah, there may be some truth to that, but I think that there's also, Mo, a lot of people who want to make sure that both sides are done. And I think that Kathleen's got a pretty good amount of people out there watching. And if we as a community do a good job promoting, and she continues to do a good job promoting, her journey's kind of changing some too. She's been started to be invited to go speak, at different, meetings and
Cool.
yeah, it's super cool. So you never know where it takes it. But at the end of the day, anything we can get them to do to fulfill transparency is something that gives us a choice to do something else during that same time.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you take it, but it just gives you a choice. I absolutely applaud our commissioners for live streaming. I hope everything works out and is up above board and transparent, but I absolutely applaud the move.
Yeah.
For any commissioners trying to do good in a room against him, having a citizen audience makes it less lonely for he or she. Totally agree with that.
True.
Have them put her info on their page. Yeah, that might be a tough one. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
Well, she's not editing it,
no.
but she is clipping parts.
Yeah, and I think what they think is going to happen is that, well, but they probably think is that if they do that, that she'll go away. Which means they'll be able
Right,
to
that's what I'm
control the
saying.
narrative.
They're trying to control the narrative. They're
Yeah, 100%.
they're hoping that
Yeah.
she'll to take that away from
Yeah.
her.
Well, but in
They're
fairness,
hoping
if
that she goes, okay, never mind.
if I was a commissioner, I'd already done that. I would have already built a YouTube page and said, we'll just make it all
Mm-hmm.
filmed live and we don't have to worry about it no more. So I don't know. I don't want to sit here and debate motives because, again, I don't really think any of our commissioners are bad people. We don't agree on everything, and I would definitely go at things a lot different. But transparency in government's a wonderful thing. Absolutely wonderful thing. Oh, here's some cool stuff. I got the doors painted for my pickup.
Why'd you put the picture in there twice?
It's a different picture, but not a very good different picture.
Huh.
Is it? Yeah. Anyway, I did kind of put it in twice. If you guys remember from a live a little bit ago, we built a paint booth, and I've got a 73 crew cab 1-ton Chevy pickup that I've been restoring for several years. Anyway, we're getting closer and closer, and it's going to be chocolate brown, as you guys can see, but we jammed the doors so that we can hang them on the cab. And so I got that done. I won't spend any time on it, but something super exciting for
It
me.
looks nice. You've done a
Yeah,
good
and
job.
why did you send me this picture? I put it in because I wasn't sure.
Those are all little fish. You see the
Yeah,
little
fish.
specks.
Fish live in water, babe.
I know, but this is that pond. This pond is like inches deep, and it's full of fish. I went up there. There was something metal in the pond, and I went over there and got it out. It was a piece of decoration from one of the events.
Do you get
And-
surprised to see a bird in the sky?
No, but I did not realize that we had.
There were a lot of these little minnows in here. A lot.
Yep.
So
So now we need a big heavy rain so it overflows, so all those fish flow into the big pond, and then the big fish eat them.
yeah.
Right, feeder fish.
You think that they'll flow through? I guess it depends on how much water comes.
Mm-hmm.
Because yeah, I could see them flowing down
Mhm.
the path.
Yeah, Citizen Broadcaster says my videos have show notes and timestamps below, plus there are amazing intros and outros. Yeah, when what the county's going to do is just go live,
Yeah.
and then at the end they're not going to probably comment, right?
Yeah.
Love runs rapid says don't kill her joy. You're right. Love runs rapid. You're 100% right. I am super stoked that pond's
That
got
was
fish
a
in it.
lot of. That's really cool. I'm
Yeah.
gonna go check the fires real quick.
Okay, you okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah.
Give me a weird look.
I'm
Okay.
gonna eat some ice cream.
Okay. Mo says, I was thinking a link to yours, not your content. And Packrat says, I like your picture, B.
See there?
Yeah. I didn't mean to be like, you guys make me feel bad. I didn't mean to like poo-poo it. I just didn't understand what was significant about the fish and water. Anyway. Me being insensitive, right? What else we got? Okay, so our spring festival, one of the ladies who plans it, there's a team that works on it. And so every time we have a festival, there's usually a team that's working on it. So anyway, one thing that they did this time is they reached out to get a bunch of donations so that we could do a giveaway or whatever. I don't know how that's all going to work, so I don't want to step on my toes when I do it. But anyway, it's funny, all this stuff just starts showing up at the house. And we got today or yesterday, whatever it was, got 2 raised metal planting boxes. That's pretty cool, huh? Yeah, I didn't open it, but someone's going to get some raised planting boxes out of the deal. That's pretty cool. What else? Wanted to remind you guys that all of the community events that are public, we're going to post on this page right here, Great Plains Homestead Happenings, which is on Facebook. I think it's up to about 150 people now, which is pretty cool. But this is where we'll post the events and that kind of stuff. I built it purely because I got so many requests for where do I find out where your guys' events are? And so I had to create something. So this is why we created it. But if you want to follow what we're doing from the public community side, feel free to go over there and follow along. Let's see here. Nito says, if you have young fish, your pond has a good ecosystem. I would think it would have a great ecosystem. We don't spray anything. I'm at the top of the runoff, so I'm not getting runoff from any farmers' fields or any of that kind of stuff. And, we just let Mother Nature kind of do its thing, but I would hope it's good. Citizen Broadcaster says, the commissioners don't really like me, so I doubt if they would share my info. I think today that's probably a true statement, Kathleen, but you never know what tomorrow holds, right? And then finally, I just wanted to finish with, as far as this slide deck goes, and then we'll get to good news, is that don't forget the spring event, April the 11th. And we're all going to go and hang out and celebrate life. Hey, you made it
Hello.
up.
Yeah.
We're going to do the celebration of life and just enjoy the spring and do some planting events and, sing some karaoke. And
This is the old flyer.
is it? What's changed?
Because it says the new flyer says silent auction.
Well, you never sent it to me. How am I supposed to keep things updated?
I don't have it
Then how do you know it says it?
because she said I updated the flyer.
And you didn't say I need one, so
I
that
didn't.
B.
Slacker.
Give me your hand. Do you mind to write
No.
notes on
No,
what you need to be
here, let me
doing?
write it over here because I'm gonna wash my hands and then it won't be there. Sharpshooter, we need the flyer.
Well, I can't update people if you don't give me the information.
Yeah. So, did you put that picture that I put in there?
Yeah, look. Yes. I don't have the information. I can't share it. Right? It's only as good as the
Sorry,
input.
I didn't think about that to ask.
With all of the stuff that goes on and all of the events that you have to go through, how do you not think about that?
It was just
I love you. You're beautiful.
out of sight, out of mind.
Clearly.
I know. Old age,
Oh my goodness.
heavy metals, microplastics.
Let's see, 2 laundry items, and then let's get into the good news. The first one is don't forget that Zach's trying to fundraise for his software. It's going to an absolute great place, and a young man who is trying to make a difference, and so we want to make sure that we support him. And then I found out yesterday I'm going to do a podcast with Jeff Lawton coming up here pretty quick, which would be really cool because, you know, that guy's like the Godfather.
That's pretty cool.
They reached out to me, so that was really pretty cool. Him and
I love that.
his buddy Eric is the connection that I have. But I'm actually going to speak to that community, which is in California, on April 22nd. I'm doing a video call with their community, and then we're working on getting a podcast set up with Jeff Lawton. So I'll let you guys know when we do it in case you guys want to watch it. But that's what I've got coming up for me.
That's
Anything
pretty
else on
cool.
your list? And we'll do good news.
No.
Nope. You guys want to know how much my wife loves me? I have a full chocolate milk and a coffee. Are you trained well, or you just love me?
I love you, and I'm trained well. You know, whatever you want,
Whatever you wish.
as you wish,
All you wives hear that? Do it one more time.
as you wish.
See? Look at that. Yeah, Love Roads Rampant says, that's love. Yeah, Woman's Girl says, Jeff Lawton, dang, Tag, you've arrived. Yeah, it's going to be cool. We're going to talk about community, which is something that's close to his heart and something close to my heart. So we'll see how it works out. But let's see. Yeah, Ron Beneville says lots of caffeine. Okay, Whisper Creek said I sent the flyer. Okay, well, I'll get it added next week. Because you know, Whisper Creek, I spent all day building a live, right?
Yeah, we're already getting some donations in.
Cali officials would flip out dealing with tag, probably. But I wouldn't be anywhere near as effective where there was in places like that because it takes so many more people to get attention. You know, here where we live, if we can get 300 people in a room, we get all kinds of attention.
Mm-hmm.
60 gets
That's a
attention.
big deal.
Yeah. So, pretty cool. Anyway, let's get some good news, huh? Okay. What do we got? Terrifying new drop from Bill Gates. A control center is needed, he proclaims. He's talking about they've registered the farmers. We need to register what type of crops they grow and what kind of land they own. They literally have a control center built. Gates expresses his support for total population surveillance like they're doing now in parts of India. It all starts with identity, payments, and bank accounts, but will build out from there, extending to health records, ownership information, and preparing for new diseases. I put this post in this, shared this post in here because it got me thinking. I'd stumbled across this map, which is on the right-hand side, and this is, you can actually go to Regeneration International org, Regenerative Farms, and you can actually go to that website, and it will show you all the regenerative farms across the country. Yep. And so I started thinking, what a great way to register your farm. Right? That maybe we shouldn't be putting our businesses and stuff like that. I mean, unless you're trying to, I guess you're trying to make money, so it's pretty hard not to. But I mean, there's no need for them to register all of them if we register them ourselves. You agree?
I don't think you should be registering your
Yeah.
farm.
Keens Girl says, I got good news. Not. Instead, I got pneumonia.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
I found my county commissioner YouTube channel finally last week. Colorado's getting bad. They are trying to pass a monument to outlaw mining and stuff to acres of land in my area. You know what else Colorado's doing, Unique Prepping? Is they actually are looking at a bill to legalize prostitution right now, too.
What?
Yes. Colorado is voting on a bill to legalize prostitution. Yes. Go Colorado.
Wow.
Yep. Trump just declared glyphosate-based herbicides are the cornerstone of this nation's agricultural productivity and rural economy. And he's declaring glyphosate weed killer to be a federally protected critical source. Yes, you heard that right. An executive order was just signed to increase production of glyphosate, the main chemical in Roundup. More chemicals in the system, all the more reason to learn how to grow food naturally.
Yeah.
Yep. Trump just declared glyphosate-based herbicide. Again, I think I read that. This is insanity. He is now pushing the mass poisoning of American food, crops, and groceries with cancer-causing deadly weed killer chemicals that will be sprayed all over food crops. So basically, I'll summarize all of this. So basically, Trump signed an executive order saying that glyphosate, we needed to bring the manufacturing of glyphosate back home, and that it was critical to the success of the United States. And this was very disappointing to me. Health Rangers all over it. Thomas Massey said this week, I will introduce a bill of no immunity for Glyphosate Act to undo the recent executive order which promotes glyphosate Roundup and insulates manufacturers from liability. So Massey's trying to fight it a little bit. But I find it funny that the White House itself put out a tweet that said promoting the national defense. Okay, listen to how it said. Promoting the national defense by ensuring an adequate supply of elemental phosphates and glyphosate. So apparently there are people there that believe glyphosate is a matter of national defense. Please tell me how that makes any sense. And again, this is coming from the Trump administration.
Yeah, that
Right?
doesn't make any sense.
No, makes absolutely no sense, right? Yeah, Hakestraw 54 said, even growing a garden, the rain is contaminated. It is, I agree 100%. But it's still better, right? I mean, the things that you go in, and like they did, I put a little slide in here about some of the stuff that we eat that's super high in it, like Cheerios and Wheaties and Trix and let me see, cornflakes and Cheez-Its and Triscuits and Ritz and Oreos. All we can do is what we can do, and it's pretty hard to shield a garden from the sky. I think this is absolutely right. Yeah, Romans Girl says another reason to love Massey. Yeah, and Packrat says, where's RFK? Well, actually, RFK supports it.
How is that?
Yep. So RFK came to the defense of Trump on this point today. And I can't tell you how disappointed I am. I really was hoping we were going to move away from this. I'd been pushing the county about serving healthier foods like at schools.
Yeah.
And trying to push down that road a little bit. But if you've got the leader of the Republican Party or the MAGA movement or whatever at the top saying glyphosate's critical to the success of the country, how am I ever going to move a commission?
So how come they changed the pyramid and then opted for glyphosates?
Well, he didn't make a statement. None of his statements said necessarily that it's a food-related issue. It just said it's critical to agriculture productivity, so animal feed but it just goes all the way to it, right? So
Oh, absolutely.
yeah. Brett Boyd says Trump is getting bad, sold out information. Hope RFK makes it. Love Runs Rampant says Wallapini is higher on the priority list now. Should be, right? How many crops would be lost if they used no glyphosates? I don't have any idea what that is, but I don't care how many crops would be lost if they didn't use glyphosates. I don't think we should be poisoning our food. Let's see here. Brett Boyd says RFK is a food man. Well, I'm disappointed that they supported this. Surgeon General of Florida just announced all vaccines mandated in Florida will now end. And so Florida becomes the first state to completely remove 100% of the vaccine mandates. Sorry, yep. Which I absolutely applaud. I don't think you should ridicule someone who wants to be vaccinated, and I don't think you should ridicule someone who doesn't. American Rancher explains why Walmart and large retail hamburger is cheaper. Why is hamburger so much cheaper at Walmart or at the big box store? They mix a lot of trim, the trimmings from other meats, other beefs from Brazil and other countries. They bring it in. That stuff comes in at $2 a pound less, and they grind it with American hamburger and call it American. I don't think they have to put that in the label and sell it as American hamburgers. Under current U.S. regulations, as of 2026, retailers and suppliers do not have to label ground beef, including hamburger, with a country of origin information, even if it includes trimmings or meat imported from another country like Brazil. Yeah, don't buy your beef at Walmart. I don't care where you live. I don't care what city you live in. Get to the outskirts. Find a farmer somewhere. Right? Go to a farmer's market if you have to. I would do everything I could to get out of that industrial meat process.
Yeah.
No way. Oh, sorry. I already commented on that. What am I doing? All right, let's keep it trucking. ABC News investigated and found more than 3,000 data centers are actually operating nationwide, which then, by the way, CNN contradicted that and said there's over 5,000. So depending upon who you're talking about, if you believe Wall Street Apes, 3,000. If you believe CNN, it's 5,000. But did any of you guys know there's already, let's just call it 4,000. We'll meet in the middle. That there's already 4,000 data centers operated in the United States of America, and that it dwarfs every other country combined. Germany has 521, UK has 514, China's got 449, Canada has 336, France has 315, Australia has 307, the Netherlands has 307, Russia has 297, and Japan has 251. The United States has more than the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9 combined.
Yeah.
So why does the U.S. have more data centers than the next 9 countries combined? Yeah, they talk,
AI.
well, they want to lead AI, but I think AI is a matter of national security. I think it all has to do with the next generation of warfare. And why would you need all of these data centers unless you're trying to process a whole bunch of digital currency ID? Who knows, right?
Well, they need so many data centers for ChatGPT, and they need so many for
Doesn't
this.
so
and they
does
need
so does every
to
other
run
country.
all of these.
So does every other country.
Are they all have the same
Well,
amount?
China's got more people than we do. You think they need more data
They
centers?
have more
People. Mm-hmm.
They have more.
David says, is Walmart satanic? How does Costco compare to Walmart on beef quality? I wouldn't buy it at any of those big stores. I would, my first choice would be to go find a organic or grass-fed, some kind of farmer that I can buy directly from.
Yeah.
My second choice would be to get it at a farmer's market or something like that.
Well, you can find farmers markets farmers at farmers markets.
Yeah, Squatchy says, where's the beef coming from? Well, according to the article, a lot of it was coming out of Brazil and Argentina, down in South America. Let's see here. Brett Boy said, family farms are being squeezed out. Big money is buying land as a hedge. Yeah, Bill Gates owns a ton of it up there in Nebraska, right? And all over. Love Runs Ramp said USA is probably ahead on the campus. Well, what's interesting about this is they just announced they were going to build another 1,000. And so I don't know how long that will take, a few years, I would imagine, but that's a lot. More data centers equal more tracking and control. Yeah. The chemicals they use before glyphosate are horribly terrible. They don't break down and poison the land permanently. I don't want my food poisoned. So, I mean, they can do whatever they want to do, Mo. I don't care. I'm going to grow the most of my own food, raise my own animals the best I can. I don't want to eat that stuff.
Lab printed.
No.
Crickets.
Let's see here. U.S. is probably ahead on the campus of 15-minute cities. I think that's what she meant. He meant. All our meats are now controlled by JBS. I think there's 4 main companies that's controlling all of it. But JBS, I know, has big ties to South America. Conservative Friend says AI can be a blessing, but without thought about guidelines, evil will rule it. Okay, so I think this is an absolute great point. We were talking about this earlier today. AI could bring on some amazing things. We talk about making the process simple so taxation is less. AI could play a huge role in doing that. But the problem is, in order for us to go down this road, we have to trust the same people that brought us COVID and the Epstein files and $38 trillion in debt and wars all over the world and, 30,000 deleted emails and, Operation Mockingbird, right? We have to entrust those people with your statement of AI can be a blessing. You want to do that? Because I don't. Hakestraw 54 said we buy a lot of our food from an Amish store. Oh, that's another great choice. Hakestraw, thank you for pointing that out. That's another great choice. Nito said I did a search and discovered a map of current and in the works data centers. Oh, interesting. What number did you come up with? Brett Boyd says JBS owns them and Bear is the other side. See, Caroline Levitt says annual mortgage cost for new homes is finally falling. Fell by over $4,000 so far under President Trump, after rising roughly $15,000 under Joe Biden. So, is anybody, and this is just an honest question, is anybody out there seeing house prices fall? Because I'm not. Where we live, there's no falling. As a result, mortgage affordability has reached a 4-year best, claims Levitt. Madami, who this has been a train wreck from the beginning, literally from the beginning, says that if Kathy Hochul refuses to allow passing higher taxes on corporations and top earners, he'll make the New York City homeowners eat the cost through higher property tax. Just after 45 days in office, Mayor Madani just said he'll be forced to raid the rainy day fund, retiree health benefits service. So there's your pensions. Okay. So he's going to raid the emergency fund and the pensions of government employees, state employees, and increase property taxes to fund his promises. New Yorkers are beginning to wake up fast. Buyer's remorse is real after voting for the socialist Madami. He campaigned on tax the rich, not you. Now he's threatening a 9.5% property tax hike on everyone to cover its massive budget hole.
9%, 9.5%.
Above the already 10% they have. So you're talking about,
almost
and
double.
some of the most expensive property in the country.
Yeah.
And then double the property taxes on this guy. This is why I was saying earlier, he campaigned on taxing the rich. Good luck with that.
Yeah. Wow.
Good luck with that. All that does is it trickles its way down either through higher prices, whatever it is, it trickles its way down to the middle class. And what always happens is the middle class gets to foot 100% of the bill. The middle class gets to pay for the poverty class, and it gets to pay for the rich class.
Yeah.
It's on the backs of the middle class. Let's see here. Where am I at? Right there. Packrat says homes are staying on the market longer. A lot of houses are being withdrawn and relisted to obscure the fact that they haven't moved in months. Yeah. Nope, not falling. I'm waiting, sadly, the 68. Let me see. Bear owns the seeds and chemicals. Got it. AI is a blessing, allows people like me to sound more human, but AI needs to be worked for good and not evil. Unique, I totally agree with this, but again, do you want to trust the people who gave us COVID, who gave us $38 trillion in debt, who gave us the Epstein stuff, who gave us the wars? Are we going to trust them with, and I'll use your words, but AI needs to be worked for good? Are we going to trust them to work for good? Because I don't know about you, bud, but I don't.
What's for good?
What's the definition of good? Yeah.
I'm sure they're thinking.
When the land floods and the house floats away, house prices sometimes fall. I would say that if the land floods and the house floated away, they would fall. Acres wasn't good previously looked at. Don't commenting. Acres wasn't good previously looked at. Don't commenting. Love runs rampant. You lost me. You get it? Okay. Let me see here. I give M 2 years. Yeah, that's a mess there. Cost of housing and rent tripled in our area under Biden. Since gas has come down, many other things are beginning to drop in price too. Bill Fallon says our latest property assessment went up $9,000 for land value. It's still the same dirt. Ugh. Up $9,000. Wow. If people are driven out of New York because of taxes and being outpriced, I wonder who he will bring in to replace them. Well, I'm betting, Gratitude for Grace, he's going to follow the lead of Canada. That'd be my guess. He'll do what Canada's
How can
doing.
you to go up $9,000, and then next year it'll be another $9,000, and on top of,
Well,
because it's a
our
snowball
taxes
effect.
more than doubled, and yet the tax rate stayed the same in our county. We didn't get a tax increase. Did you know that? Does that make sense to you?
Yes, they valued our home differently.
Yeah, they just changed the value of the home, but the taxes technically didn't go up. Former World Bank president has sounded the alarm, revealing that the Federal Reserve has now lost over $1 trillion and counting, turning it into nothing more than a massive hedge fund. And then, unbelievable, of all the cuts that need to be done in California, Newsom decides that he's going to cut the benefits for the veterans. We talked about this. Yeah, Gratitude for Grace says Canada or Minnesota. I'm thinking Canada. I'll explain. I've got a couple slides on it here in a minute. So Newsom wants to cut the benefits of the veterans before cutting the benefits of an immigrant, before cutting benefits, right? I mean, if anybody deserves it, it's the veterans, in my opinion. So I think it's absolutely crazy. Let me see here. If one doesn't trust AI, why do they trust phones, computers, and big data today? Same people. I don't trust any of them. Zero. U.S. Supreme Court struck down President Trump's tariff authority today. I don't know if you guys watched this or not. This was kind of all over the news today. So basically, the Supreme Court said that they didn't really strike it down. What they said is that the law that he was applying to it was unconstitutional. And so Trump, and if you remember, said without tariffs, what would you do? Everybody would be. This is Trump quote. And again, this was back a little while ago as he was trying to get the tariffs through. But if you remember, he said, without tariffs, what would we do? Everyone would be bankrupt. Everyone, the whole country would be bankrupt. And I have to wait for this decision. I've been waiting forever. And the language is clear that I have the right to do it as president. And then the Supreme Court comes out and strikes it down today. So there's a bunch of talk about would they be refunding the tariffs that's already been paid? Well, this is interesting. So let's say we refund China the tariff costs. What's funny is China didn't pay the tariff costs. China passed on the tariff cost to the consumer. So the consumer's not going to get refunded.
No.
So
China will.
so the country's got to make the exact same, and now they would get a refund. Although that's not going to happen because they're going to go at it a completely different way. But they did make that decision. Trump blamed the Supreme Court, said that they were tied to China, and the whole thing goes back and forth. Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh warns that chaos is about to ensue because President Trump would have to give refunds for the tariffs. The court's decision, this is him speaking, the court's decision is likely to generate other serious practical consequences in the near term. One issue would be refunds. Refunds of billions of dollars would have significant consequences on the U.S. Treasury. Crazy. Hickshaw says taxes on our home are 3 times more each year than my grandpa paid for it. Yeah, you'll pay more in taxes than you ever will in a mortgage by the time you stay there long enough, right? Continuing on tariffs, as I mentioned, the Supreme Court struck it down. Brian Allen said in America, only Congress can impose taxes on the American people. This is why the court said it was unconstitutional, because they viewed it as a tax. So translation is Trump tried to tax Americans by decree. The Supreme Court just reminded us we don't have kings and that this was constitutional. So Trump's legal tariffs are going to cause a huge mess, and they go in to talk about the reasons why. I can tell you guys from my businesses, the tariffs have affected me. My costs have gone up because of them. And so it's just like taxing the rich. You go and you put these tariffs on these countries, and then they just add it to the consumer. I can tell you with 100% certainty my costs have gone up because of it. The court's ruling, and this was them saying that it only applied to tariffs imposed under the IEEPA, section 232 and 301. It does not say he can't create tariffs, he just can't create them under them. President Trump announced that he's immediately signing the executive order to impose an additional 10% tariff across the board on national security grounds under section 122. Trump has also declared all tariffs under section 301 remain in place. And so he's basically saying he's going to do what he wants anyway. He's going to do it under different rules, whatever the case may be. I think this is obviously dangerous. The Supreme Court, like it or not, is supposed to be the highest power in the land and have the ultimate say, but it doesn't appear so. And then Wealth Watcher commented that the U.S. economy is in big trouble. Growth is slowing down, and it's worse than expected. So the economy numbers just came in at 1.4%. And they were expecting 3%, so it was about, it was half of what they expected it to be. And of course, Mr. Donald Trump decides that he would blame Congress and, the Fed and everybody else, which I don't necessarily disagree with him, because they probably do have a lot of fault in it. But the GDP did come in at plus 1.4%, which is a significant slowdown. And if you guys weren't watching in the middle of the night as all of this was going on, the Fed printed $30.5 billion of more money.
Of course they did.
And this is the reason why inflation's the way that it is. You can't print your way, to a balanced budget. You just can't do it. I mean, could you guys spend your credit cards enough to get debt free?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just not how it works, you know. Lover and Dram said, "I've not seen much news about the Straits of Hormuz. That's more important than any of the terrorist stuff." Yeah, I got some slides about that too. Oh, cool. Look at this. AJS says, "Citizen Broadcaster, I enjoy watching your commissioner meetings to watch their body language when they speak, knowing you are filming. Thank you for being there." This is Aljo. Oh, excellent. Aljo, welcome in. And I'll guarantee you she appreciates that. Guaranteed. Let's see here. I don't know if you guys know this. Mitch McConnell's decided that he's going to vote against the SAVE Act. The SAVE Act would require ID in order to vote. And so Mitch McConnell, the Republican, is saying that he's going to vote no on it. And so the SAVE Act might be dead in the water and at the hands of the Republican Party. Mitch McConnell is a no vote. Over 90% of his constituents want it voted yes, but he's again decided that he won't. Mike Lee made the comment, "Hats off to Speaker Johnson for attaching the SAVE Act to the September spending bill." This is super interesting too, because when they lump all of this stuff together, so what they basically did is they took the SAVE Act, you need ID to vote, and then they lumped it into the budget. So when someone's voting for the SAVE Act, they're also voting for the budget. If they're voting against the SAVE Act, they're actually voting against the budget. And so I hate it when politicians do that. They should not be able to lump this stuff together. We should have straight line item bills.
They stick all kinds of stuff in there.
Yeah, because what they're saying is, and this is political theater. So what they're saying is, if you want to get elected again, because 90% of the constituents want voter ID, you have to vote yes. And then they hide a bunch of the spending in the back.
Yeah.
Right? Saying, okay, we're going to get the spending because they're not going to get on TV and tell the American people that they don't want voter ID, which the vast majority support. Right? "Congratulations to the House," says Donald Trump, "on the passage of a bill that sets the stage for one of the greatest and most important signings in the history of our country." And he's talking about the SAVE Act. But listen to the last sentence he says. "It will be the largest tax and regulation cut ever contemplated." So not only do the people of the internet say that it's tied to the Spending Act, that's exactly what Donald Trump is saying too. Because what does largest tax and regulation cut have to do with the SAVE Act?
Right.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Let's see here. Nitos says, "I am sure the 45-day shutdown played a factor in the economy." Oh, I'm sure too. Absolutely sure too. "Not happy with S court, not a conservative law-driven court." Now, what's crazy though is I think it's, maybe the word's crazy, that the majority of the Supreme Court Trump put in office. These are Trump appointees. If all of the conservatives or Trump appointees voted party line all of the time, everything would get passed. But they don't. They vote all over the map. But I mean, for him to, kind of demonize his own appointees, I don't think I'm real fond of. I wonder how long it would take to pay off the debt if all foreign aid was stopped. Yeah. Yeah, but man, all those bribes, you couldn't keep making them, Let's see here. Oh, sorry. "Bush Sr. had the right idea. Line item veto." 100% agreed. This is response to Dems putting in the ICE restriction in the budget. If the Dems are doing it, the GOP needs to respond. I'm tired of the political games. They need to put America first and quit playing these silly games. Just go vote on the bill, whatever it is, whether it's ICE detention centers, no matter what it is, or it's the budget, or it's the SAVE Act, just vote on it and then own your decision. Stand up there and say, "This is what I think and this is why." I don't see why it's so complicated. Final warning to Iran. This is becoming a bigger and bigger deal, and I would like to think that, again, it's just saber rattling, but I'm starting to think there's no saber rattling going on. I don't know if you guys have been watching or not, but Trump has given Iran an ultimatum. Now, originally it was 10 days, and then he moved it to 15 days. Either way, he's saying that the red line in the sand is they can't have nuclear weapons, which I don't really think a nuclear armed Iran's a great idea, but in fairness, I don't really think anybody nuclear armed is a great idea. But so we've been amassing lots of weaponry, 550 plus aircraft, carrier groups. There's 2 there now, with a 3rd one on its way. And so because Iran had declined to halt its nuclear program, the United States is now deploying just deployed more than 50 combat aircraft. I don't know if you guys watch Monkey Works ever. It's an interesting channel, but it shows all the planes, right, that fly all over, and they are absolutely doing a massive, massive, massive buildup. And there is no way, I don't think, that you're going to spend that kind of money. Because, guys, I'm going to tell you, running an aircraft carrier, right, sending, 5,000 troops, on an, I don't know how many troops are in an aircraft carrier battle group, but it's a lot, right? Maybe even 15, 18,000 troops. I mean, it's a lot. Because, like, I think, yeah, I mean, if Indiana's still on here, he could probably tell us. I don't know how many. But anyway, I don't think that they were going to do that if it was just saber rattling. That's a lot of money. Let's see here. Brett Boyd says, tag makes you wonder about how independent the Supreme Court really is. Yeah. Just posted that above, laugh out loud. Let's see, let's keep trucking on this. In the move, this was interesting. So if you guys look at the picture of the planes right there, what they're talking about is they have 48 F-16 fighter jets, 12 F-22s, 18 F-35s, 6 AWACS, and 40 refuelers that just arrived. That's a big force, right? They were talking earlier about how 60% of our military capacity they now have deployed to this region. And again, more coming in, but an unbelievable U.S. military movement. If you look at the World War III monitor, which is something I watch a little bit, look at all that.
Yeah.
That's all the traffic back and forth there today. It's clearly a monster buildup. Bill Fallon says Monkey Works has been dead on for the past few years. Yeah, I watch them from time to time. The Islamic Republic of Iran state media claims that the IRGC is transferring large quantities of anti-ship missiles to the Persian Gulf. I found this interesting. So the Russians and the Chinese and Iranians are playing war games in this area. Some of like the Chinese AWACS type stuff and the Russian AWACS type stuff are landing in Tehran, or at least today. But so it looks like they're clearly building up, and there's a bunch of intelligence stuff that's coming out talking about how Iran has used this exercise to move a lot of equipment closer to the battle line. So it sure does seem like they are positioning themselves for war. Iran's 800,000 soldiers are on high alert with advanced Russian and Chinese-made weapons, missiles, drones, and fighter jets, and they will bomb Tel Aviv's Diego Garcia, Jordan, and other U.S. bases. And it says that the IRGC has added an additional 100,000 troops to its army in the recent days. Mike Pompeo says we know the Iranian, which I'm not a big fan of, but he says we know the Iranian regime aren't going to give up its ballistic missiles or its support of terrorism. President Trump is making every effort to find a solution, but ultimately the regime is unredeemable. I think this is true, not necessarily not saying that they're unredeemable, but I don't think they're going to ever agree to give up, to bend to the will of the Americans. And so it looks, again, closer and closer like we're going to war. The Iranian parliament, the prime minister stood on the stage yesterday and burned the American flag.
Yikes.
Yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, there we go. Bill Fallon says we have 6K per carrier group, because 6,000 troops per carrier group. And there's 3. I think there's 3 there. I'm hearing as we speak, Trump has confirmed there will be strikes. Yeah, Bill Fallon says that's only on the carrier. Yeah, what I'm talking about is the whole carrier group.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Bill. Yeah, I thought there was 4,000 or 5,000 on a carrier, but what is an entire battle, a carrier battle group? How many soldiers does that mean? Yeah, war is the only way out of debt. Look at history. Yeah, well, I think there's a lot of reasons for us to, not us, not you and me. There's a lot of reasons why the powers that be want to change the narrative on the news. Right? They don't want us to be talking about Epstein, about falling economic numbers. They don't want to talk about those things. They want something else, and this is always a dangerous place to be, because all it is, hey, let's just change the narrative, right? And let's go to war. We'll get everybody to stop thinking about the Epstein files. Let's see here. It's a reset. What do you suppose that says?
Debt.
Debt? Yeah. Bill says close to 10,000. Okay, yeah, lots. China and Russia are preparing to send naval forces to the Strait of Hormuz for joint military drills. I told you guys they are there doing it. China was assisting Iran with intel, surveillance, and real-time tracking through satellites and exposed U.S. military buildups. So we've got all these spy ships from China and Russia down in the straits, which I'll guarantee you what they're doing. They are mapping out all of the American military assets.
Ouch.
China escalates the shadow war, helping Iran root out Israel. Mossad spies with Beidou and encrypted upgrades. China has deepened security and intelligence cooperation with Iran, particularly in response to perceived threats from Israeli intelligence operations, primarily attributed to Mossad inside Iran. So basically, China is working on counterintelligence for Iran. Liz Churchill says this will keep what is this? Oh yeah, this is incredible. This is what I was talking about Canada earlier, right? This will keep Canada safe, says Minister Liana Dibe. This is, you might say, what does Canada have to do with this? Everything. Canada just launched a new immigration category for armed forces to allow recruits from the Chinese Communist Party and other foreign adversaries to merge with Canada's military. So Canada is now going to welcome in Chinese troops to be trained
Eek.
and to be part of the Canadian forces.
Yikes.
Yeah, debt. Okay.
Debt.
World War III has arrived, I feel, by or before next weekend. Yeah, and there's a lot we should be doing, guys. And we'll talk about that before we get off the live. Just a little bit. But Jamie, I don't necessarily disagree with you. It does not. The world is very, very weird. Then talking about Russia, let me see, a warning from Kremlin to the West. The assistant to the president, Vladimir Putin, attempts to impose a blockade on Russia are illegal and under international law, he warns. If diplomacy fails, the Russian fleet will break the blockade. So Russia's basically saying, if you do a blockade on the Straits of Hormuz, we're going to get involved. Kremlin warns that there will not be a regime change in Iran and that they will come to their aid. This was such an interesting thing. They were talking to Putin, and they asked him, why does Trump want to go to war with Iran? And this is what he says, which I find incredible. I have already spoken to 3 U.S. presidents. When a person is elected, they may have some ideas. Then people with briefcases arrive wearing dark suits. These people start explaining how things are done, and instantly everything changes. Vladimir Putin. Trump campaigned against disastrous, endless wars abroad, and instead he is becoming the second coming of George W. Bush. Because ultimately, the permanent imperial state is what makes the decisions in the United States, not the red and blue figureheads elected to office, basically. Red or blue, no matter who, the war planners decides what will proceed, and that's what's going to happen. So basically what Putin was saying is that the deep state behind the scenes decides, and Trump really don't get a choice in it.
Wow.
Crazy coming from another world leader, right? A couple other things going on with Iran that I'll point out. There was a terror alarm website that popped up that says that they're working on a virtual simulation room that people can join to watch and participate in the invasion of Iran, which is crazy, in my opinion. Poland, UK, France, India, the United States, South Korea, I said the French already, Germany, who else is this too here? I already said America and Russia have ordered evacuation of their people in Iran.
For the
Yes, but-
bombing.
Yeah, so if the French said, any French citizens get out of Iran. You know, all these countries are saying, get out, get out, get out, get out, get out. Yeah. Tag, that's bullshit. We are effed. Yeah. I couldn't agree with you more.
Wonder if she knew that.
I found this was pretty interesting too, and I'll just kind of touch on this real quick. The United Kingdom government has now classified the belief that of Western culture is under threat from mass migration and failed integration as an extreme right-wing terrorist ideology. So basically what that's saying is the UK has decided that if you believe that Western culture is under threat from mass migration, you are now a terrorist. Lovely, huh? You can't even think for yourself, right? In Australia, the Prime Minister Anthony Albanese says he likes to visit public schools because the children there have not yet been influenced by far-right extremisms. You guys are all terrorists. Susan Rice created a warning that said that to corporations that kneel to Trump, and these are her words, if Democrats come back, it's not forgive and forget. There will be accountability. It's not going to end well for them. So they're threatening anyone who backed the Trump administration. The Democrats are just as evil. Rep. Jeffries appeared to threaten Speaker Johnson, saying that he needs to get his members under control because if he don't, we will, referring to the Democrats.
Yikes.
So you've got this,
Violence.
you talk about civil war, there's already a political civil war. You've got both sides calling for violence against the other side, you know.
Say more, yeah.
Absolutely crazy. I'm going to skip that one. Oh, this one was super interesting. So Barack Obama said this week, talking about February 14th, talking about aliens, he says they're real, but I haven't seen them. They're not being kept at Area 51. There's no underground facility unless there's this enormous conspiracy that they hid it from the President of the United States. Okay, so let's break this apart real quick. They're real, first of all. So Obama said on camera, aliens are real. And then I found that way that he worded this interesting, but I haven't seen them. So how do you know they're real? You read it, probably. They're not being kept at Area 51. There's no underground facility. Instantly, Trump smacks back and says, Barack Obama said that the aliens were real. Have you seen the evidence of non-human visitors to Earth? And then Trump says, well, he gave classified information. He's not supposed to be doing that, was Trump's response to him. Then a few hours go by, and then later today, Trump came out and said, based on the tremendous interest shown, I will be directing the Secretary of War and other relevant departments and agencies to begin the process of identifying and releasing government files related to alien and extraterrestrial life, unidentified aerial phenomenon, and unidentified flying objects, and any and all other information connected with these highly complex but extremely interesting and important matters. It's America.
Good grief.
Isn't this crazy? And then, where was that in the last slide? There's another one real important. Oh no, must be the next one. Shadow of Ezra said something interesting. They were quoting Matt Gaetz, and if you guys remember him, he was going to be part of the cabinet, but he claimed that some members of Congress believe that aliens are already here and established on Earth. Guys, these are our public officials. Right? Which one's this one? Yeah, I won't read that one. Peter Thiel says, this is the guy that owns Planeteer, right? On what aliens would mean for military technology. He goes on to talk about that it's not that it might be demons or angels. They have to be demons and angels. So Peter Thiel, the guy with Planeteer, is saying there's no UFOs. It's all planets. I mean, it's all angels and demons. Representative Anna Paulina Luna just went full disclosure. The technology in some of those wild UFO videos is not man-made, she says. And she goes on to say aliens are visiting the Earth via interdimensional travel. Because these are our elected officials.
Yeah. Porthole.
Right? It's just crazy.
From the
Just absolutely crazy.
aliens.
And so it got me thinking a little bit. And Thomas Massey talks about this. And I'll quote him here. I think I have the next slide. He said, they've deployed the ultimate weapon of mass distraction, but the Epstein files aren't going away, even for the aliens.
Distraction.
Yeah, and so I think what's interesting about that is what would have to happen on this earth for you to accept digital ID, for you to accept a social credit score, for you to turn your back on the impending financial doom that's been going on for a long, long time. What would have to happen to be able to actually do that reset where they look like the good guys?
And you think aliens?
I think that it is, as Thomas Massey says, it could be pulled off as a great distraction. You don't think with AI and that stuff you could be releasing videos? You know, I mean, what would American people be willing to accept if they believed there was an alien invasion?
Yeah.
And you've got riots and shit going on all over the world. Every country's in bad economic shape. Almost every country, the people are, standing up and rioting, right? You've got all of the Epstein stuff. You've got World War III. You got all of these things, just crazy to me. Brett says, wow, media is going alien instead of fraud. It's a shell game. Yeah, it's definitely circuses. Broadcaster says Project Bluebeam. Yeah, it's complete.
I haven't heard of that
complete.
one.
Oh, you should look it up. I thought this was really interesting too. I'll just talk about this and then we'll get out of here. Truth Poll said CNN segment explores whether alien disclosure could reshape global priorities, even reduce nuclear tensions. The argument is simple. A confirmed non-human presence reframes borders, power, and conflict. What'd you get out of that, babe?
I have no idea.
Okay, so the argument is simple. A confirmed non-human presence, so confirmed aliens are here, reframes borders. There's no more countries anymore. You're the human race against the aliens.
Right.
So you get to eliminate borders. Right? One world government. You get to consolidate
Power.
because it's the humans
And
against
conflict.
the right. It's a consolidation, right? If 8 billion people suddenly share the same external reality, what changes? I thought that was really, really, really well said. Dana Green says fear and starvation work well. Just think all the movies made about this subject. Yeah, I've often thought the alien talk was hokey. You know, a lot. Not to say that there isn't life out there, because it's hard to believe that we'd be the only ones. But I think all of the push lately, I don't know if it's just to get us talking about something else, get us off of the Epstein files, whatever it is. But yeah, it's guys, we have to be really, really smart and have
discernment.
Yeah. Oh, here, this is a good one too. Mo for the win. Mo's such a smart guy. That it would give a good explanation for 1/3 of the population disappearing.
Like the aliens took them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's how
Don't
many?
they usually bring them back after they study them?
No. How many articles have you read about the deep state saying that we're overpopulated and we need to depopulate? Right. I mean, it's all, you can find that. Bill Gates talked about it. A lot of them talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think that was kind of his point. Break out the shit slinger so everyone smells like crap and nobody can focus. No aliens, but basically it's not good. The only thing to do is pray. Probably the 10 10 kingdoms. Okay. I read that a lot better. Right. Never a better time to live a life done free. Amen to that, buddy. Amen to that. Get rid of that. So B, 2 hours and 2 minutes. What do you got to say to all the craziness going on in the world?
Spring is coming.
Spring is coming.
Spring is coming. Garden like it matters. And I mean, well, the what could happen if you don't, right? If nothing happens, like the best case scenario, right, is that everybody's eating better. Right? The worst case scenario is that we're eating.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
the garden like it matters.
Yeah, I think that's good advice. I think it's important to pay attention to what's going on, even though it's a big circus. But I think to B's point is, let's go garden like it matters this year. Let's go try to do a really, really good job of meeting our own needs, and just do it as hard as we can do it. And you know, however many potatoes you planned on planting, how about let's just make the deal tonight? We're going to double that.
it.
And whatever tomatoes you planned on planting, let's just
double it.
Double
That's
it.
the new. That's the key for the season.
double it.
Double it.
Yeah. So when it comes to your effort to take care of them, double it. Good night, everybody. Be out.
Yeah.
Later, guys.